Hello, everybody. Welcome. My partner, Joe Dingle, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Rocking his new red pill shirt. Look at that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Is that the
It's
one you just put up on the website today?
yes. This is the newest shirt. I have quite a few other shirts, and but this is the newest one. And right there on joedingle.com, and we have a whole store. We got mugs, we got all kinds of stuff, water bottles. Definitely go check it out. All the proceeds go to warriorsforranchers.com and also to the Remnant Ministries, my ministry that I run here in New Jersey. So definitely
Very
check it out.
cool.
Yes,
Cool
yes,
deal,
yes.
man. Well, welcome, everybody. Everybody that's watching, going to be watching. Today's episode is demons. Joe and I are going to
Ooh,
explore the concept of demons. What are they? Where do they come from?
yeah.
Are they in our government? Hmm. So we're going to be asking those questions and probably some more. And as always, Joe will be my biblical reference, my biblical encyclopedia, my whatever you want to call it. Your
I'm just here to help and serve. That's it.
So with that being said, um, the concept of demons have been around for as long as there's been printed text, and
Yes.
one of the printed texts that Joe knows very well is the Bible. And what does the Bible have to say about demons, Joe?
Well, let's talk about the beginning of where it all started with these demons. I'm trying to get my lighting and stuff together. um, it all started in Genesis 6. I think we talked about this when we talked about the giants. So this
Yeah,
kind of
we seem to hit Genesis a lot.
yeah. This is look. It's the beginning. This is we talked about the giants last week. So this the giants kind of segues into talking about the demons because yeah, there's something that happened to these giants that when a lot of the giants perished, the spirit of these giants became demons, and it all started Genesis 6, verse 4. I'm gonna start with verse 4, and of course, we read part of this before, but one part of the scripture I want to focus on. So it says the Nephilim, which were giants, were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God, all right, these were fallen angels. This is how these fallen angels fell. When the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. All right. They bore children. So demons, for what I believe, and you can actually read more about this within the book of Enoch, and there's other books of the Bible that have been left out, which can kind of give you more of a idea of what happened with demons and giants and all these things. But here it talks about children were born to these fallen angels. All right. So these were hybrids. These giants were pretty much hybrids. Um, they were the children of part angel and part human beings. And of course, in that day, there was a lot of manipulation with DNA and all types of things that were going on with hybrids, half man, half animals, and all. They these fallen angels and demons were manipulating genetic codes and all types of things and DNA, and which we see is still going on to this day.
Yeah, we got the big push for transhumanism right now.
Transhumanism, right? And the cloning and all this other stuff. Cloning is nothing new. They've been doing that for centuries, for a long time. These demons, listen, these fallen angels, and I heard somebody say today, people think that Satan is dumb. No, he's very wise. The Bible talks about, in Genesis, when man fell, the serpent was subtle, the serpent was wise as well, so he wasn't no dummy. And so there was a lot of things going on in that time. And so these children that were bore from these fallen angels and man, They were the giants. They were the mighty men of old, the Bible talks about. But what happened was in the days of Noah, of course, when the floods came, a lot of these giants died. All right. So they're giant. They were giants because there were giant bodies here, but inside those bodies were spirits. So
Right.
what was those spirits that was inside of these giant bodies? All right. The ones that fell due to Noah's flood were the demons. After these giants died in the flood, what happened to these spirits?
True.
You
Wait, what
know,
happened to the big bully spirits?
what happened to the big bully spirits? They
They had
became the demons that roam around earth, doing evil things and getting people to do evil things. Because listen, a spiritual being can't really do anything on this earth unless it uses a body. And so
right.
this is why this is a part of the whole operation with the cloning. All right. One of the main reasons why Satan wants clones to exist is so that his children can have bodies to operate in
Right.
on this
Because
earth.
they're soulless.
Because they're soulless. So these bodies are not inhabited. So these clone bodies are not inhabited. So these bodies, they make these clones so that these demons can inhabit a body to do things on earth. All right. So that's a spiritual law. You can't do anything on earth unless you have a body. All right. And so this is the beginning. This is the beginning of how demons, of course, came into play, of course, on this earth. They stem from the fallen angels going into the daughters of man, mating with man, and the whole swirl of man having these demons having a spiritual, of course, their spirit inside of a body. So these demons have a body to be able to operate through on this earth. All right. And so, yeah, these same demons roam around today trying to, and this is why we you talk about people being possessed,
Right.
with the demon, because possession is where a demon
Well, I got some
comes
good
into a
questions.
body and overtakes a body, So this is the beginning. What I just talked about was kind of the beginning of how demons first came into play.
And that's a very good primer for modern society, because as society has grown, I guess our concept of demons has changed. And so I guess if you're watching this and you've watched other videos, in your mind, I mean, you have to figure out, what do you think in your mind, what is a demon to you? What is the definition of a demon? What is the concept of it? Is it just some evil spirit that tries to come into your life and bring a black cloud and bring all this negativity and evil into your life, or are they more than that? And there's even schools of thought that all the different races of the grays are demons, and that there's no such thing as extraterrestrials, that they're actually races of demons, or types of demons. So
races of the grays.
A little bit of a delay there.
Watch. I had turned it on my phone. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
But in doing some research over the last few days, outside of outside of the opinion I formed in my life as to traditionally what I thought a demon was, and I was really on board with what Joe is saying, as far as they've been around since God created life, and they came early, and there's all kinds of bad things associated with fallen angels and with the bad things that are happening on our planet and on earth and with people. And I personally think that, just tying in with that, I think that a lot of Satan's work that's done on earth is done through demons and, occupying human form, or other forms for that matter. And without his army of demons, and again, whatever your concept of demons are, they could be possessed people, they could be totally, these wild looking creatures that are inhabited by the souls of these, ancient spirits. And there's just so much out there that, I think even in like ancient Israel, they didn't even have a word for demon. It was some kind of, it was like more of a concept than a word, and it had to do with deception, I believe. And it was just it's kind of interesting to see ancient texts and from different cultures around the world. They all have the concept of demons, whether you want to call them demons or not. They all have the concept of it. These spirits or these entities that occupy people or other living things. And I think one of the problems with the onset of occultism, becoming a mainstream kind of thing back in the 50s and 60s. I'm trying to think of when Aleister Crowley was big, but I think that kind of opened the door to let a lot of these evil spirits in, because I'm wholeheartedly of the belief that if you have a higher vibration and you have a God spirit and you believe in the Lord, it's impossible for these entities to enter that type of body. So when you have people that are kind of down on their luck or depressed, or they're exploring, messing with the Ouija board or joining these goth clubs and all this other stuff, and playing around and inviting these evil spirits into their lives, I don't think they realize that what they're asking for, it's open invitation for, sure, come take over my weak mind and let me take over the driver's seat.
Right.
So
it's so true. And see, it's even in the Bible that demons possess pigs at one point.
Oh, jeez. Hello, Natalie.
Hey, Natalie, how you doing? Yeah, I mean, look, when Jesus sent the legion out of the man, they went to the pigs. I mean, the pigs were possessed. So yeah, there was animal
path of least
possession back then,
resistance.
Yeah. I mean,
can you imagine that spirit? It's like, oh man, how to get a pig?
Right.
I don't have any hands.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah,
but that's what they do. They need a body to be able to operate here on earth. God said in the beginning, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. And then he said, let them have dominion. All right. What does the word man mean? The man actually means spirit species inside of a body, because when you have human, hue means body, which comes from the dust of the earth. And then you have man, the spirit species. So a human is a spirit species inside of a dirt body.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. So that's we are who God has given. We are his children. So he's given us dominion. So what the problem is that demons, they want to have dominion, and this is why, Satan, when at one point when he was tempting Jesus, he said, look, he showed him all the kingdoms on the earth. He said, look, you can have all this, if you bow down and worship me, because all this was given to me. And so why did he say that? All this earth was given to me. Why did he say that? Because Adam and Eve gave it to him. They gave him dominion by obeying him, by eating the fruit, instead of obeying God. When God told them not to eat the fruit, they obeyed the enemy. So that's how dominion was given to the enemy. But of course, Jesus, he brought that kingly dominion back to man, because that's, what God wanted his children to have dominion over the earth. So that's why this whole thing is about a kingdom and not a religion. See, religion always tells you all kinds of, the religion is all about control. You read the Gospels, and all Jesus talked about was the kingdom of God. He never talked about a religion. He talked about a kingdom, because that's what God gave us. And so these demons, they want to have dominion.
Yeah, and they fully, and some of these clips you'll see, but they are fully aware that they are not in control, especially if somebody knows that if they have the Holy Spirit they are absolutely in control of these other demonic spirits. Like those demonic spirits have no dominion over a man if you don't let them, or if you don't want them to. And I think that's a concept people have a hard time with. They feel like they have no control. It's just something that just happens to them. And there's always a door in somehow. There's always some way that you left the back door unlocked or something, you know, like there's something you forgot about. If there's a demon in your life, there's something you forgot about.
Right. And that's so true. And I see Natalie posted, you know, years ago, a man literally crawled on the floor. Yep. I've seen all that. And I've actually cast demons out of people. You know, I'm a pastor as well. A lot of people may not know. I don't always, you know, I'm not into titles and stuff. Look, I'm just a child of God like everybody else. But God has taught me and showed me how to, you know, cast demons out of people, and how to, you know, deliverance, and even, you know, lay hands and see people get healed and things like that. And it's really so easy. I think religious churches and religious people make it so hard, you know, to where it's like, you know, they set all the rules of how to do it and what not to do and what to do.
Yeah, right. It's almost like a school. You got to go to class.
Yeah. And see, with me, I've just experienced seeing how it was done, but also God Himself teaching me, like, no, you don't want to do this. You don't have to take 3 hours just to cast a demon out. No, you don't have to do all that. Do this, you know. And so it's all about being, you know, I was always led and guided by God in me to show me how and what to do, you know. So it's like the enemy, he's a deceiver. So he's going to lie to you and tell you all these things so that you can continue to be bound and, you know, not be able to be delivered. You know, it's so easy to be delivered. You can deliver yourself from things, you know.
Yeah. There's it really does kind of, it's a little sad that there's a lot of victim mentality kind of being perpetuated over the last couple decades or whatever, you know, and I think that's led to more and more people kind of drifting away from God and kind of losing their connection and, you know, with the Holy Spirit instead of these other spirits. And you know, these things are just lurking, just they're everywhere. They're opportunistic feeders, so to speak. You know, they're waiting for somebody to lose faith or to, you know, get down on their luck and just kind of be fearful. And you know, we talk about fear all the time, and even God talks about not living in fear. And I believe that with the coming awakening, that there'll be far less people afraid, knowing everybody's behind them, including God, and you know, all of their brothers and sisters are behind them. And hello, Anna.
Anna, how are you? Yeah.
But again, it comes down to people's concept of demons. And I think a lot of people know, if you don't, CERN's in Switzerland. It's the big Hadron Collider. And for a while, there was this kind of sketchy ritual kind of thing going on around CERN. And let me share my screen here. So I've heard this a lot concerning CERN, that people are afraid that they're opening a portal to hell. And
I've heard that too.
Looking for the God particle or opening portals of hell. And this is leading into, I've seen videos and pictures of these weird clouds, lights, whatever, over CERN. It's interesting because there's always been, and I've got a video of this, around Area 51 and around CERN, about the concept of demonic rites or satanic rites and opening portals. And let's see here. No, that's not the one I wanted. This is an image. CERN discovers satanic human sacrifice taking place in Large Hadron Collider grounds. A satanic human sacrifice has been staged in the grounds of the European Organization for Nuclear Research. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see it in the picture. You got these hooded cloak figures and the statue back there. And,
yeah.
So there's always kind of been a satanic or demonic twist to the whole idea of CERN.
And CERN is located in Switzerland?
Yes. Which we know is one of the elite's favorite places,
right?
Money-wise, otherwise. Hey, Kyle, good to see you again.
Kyle, how are you, brother?
But even like, throughout history, there's always been almost any printed text with any kind of illustrations. You're always going to find some concept or some images of demons.
Right.
And, going all around the world, there's always, even Asian cultures like China, Japan, there's always the concept of demons. This is Krampus, but I consider it a demon. So
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
He's a bad dude. There is a video clip. Where is it here? I saw this not too long ago, and I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert. I've never seen this firsthand. So in addition to inviting this kind of evil into your life, I think I touched on it earlier about having a higher vibration, living in a higher God conscious. And for those people that aren't and that are just walking around, Santa surfing, if you ever heard of it, heard of the page, they put out some pretty cool stuff. There's a video, I think I pulled this from there. Whoops, hold on. There we go. Some reason I want to play on a different screen. But there's going to be this person on the left's going to be walking up this way towards another person's going to come in the screen. You're going to pay very close attention to this person on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Oh, can you see it?
Yeah.
It goes from his body to this body. And you see how the guy reacts a little bit? His arms come up.
Yep.
So
yep.
That tells me that if you're, again, living in fear, if you're not living in a higher conscious level, that these demons or these entities can literally at will go from one body to another that's in a similar state of fear or a similar state of whatever you want to call it.
Same frequency.
Lower vibration. Yeah, exactly. And speaking of being possessed, I don't know the legitimacy of this video, but it's been around for a long time and I've never seen it debunked. And I'll tell you why at the end of it. This happened in China. It was caught completely on like a cam in this store.
Okay. A little kid there.
that or she got the vaccine.
Hey, could be some truth to that.
The one thing I will
Yeah, she scared the lady.
well, I'm going to pause here because she didn't scare a whole lot because she's pulling out her camera to record it.
Yeah.
Instead of just keep staying over there to try to help her. That's
Right.
the only thing about the video that bugs me is that this girl right here over on the left side is now is filming it on her phone.
Wow. Now they all scared.
Sorry about the video quality, folks.
No, that's good enough. It could definitely be seen.
And I'm going to pause it here.
Yeah, pause. I want to address what Rebecca is saying. Yes, that is so true. That fear does feed demons and makes it doesn't make them stronger in a sense. It makes them stronger over you because what fear does to you is it kind of paralyzes you in a sense. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You ever get to a point where you're scared, you're so scared to the point where you just like, you know, you become so weak. So it kind of makes you weaker so that they can, you know, come in and overpower you, you know. So it really makes you weak because what fear does, it really lowers your vibration, it lowers your light, you know. So when you don't fear, the Bible says that perfect love casts out all fear. So of course, you know, the love of God is the highest frequency. So when you vibrate with the love of God, then, you know, can no demon come inside of you or possess you, you know, because, you know, God is love. So when you have God on the inside of you, then no demon can do that. But you can also help others and cast demons out of others because God is within you. And you know, when you have that love of God within you. So yeah, that is definitely true. Fear, you know, feeds demons to let them know that, oh, I can overpower this person because they're afraid of me. You know, it's like a bully. Like, you know,
that's right.
When the
we talked about bullies last episode. These are
we talked about bullies. When you come across a bully, you know, I remember when I had bullies, you know, when I was little and kids would come bully me, and I would be scared. Like, I'll be so fearful. Like, oh man, you get so weak that they just overpower you, you know, or they push you or do something, you know. So it's the same scenario.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know what to think of the video to this point, but I'll show you here in a minute what changed my mind about it. I was on the fence when I first saw this. Because up until this point, I thought that could have been easily staged. Right there. That's what convinced me it wasn't staged.
Yeah.
Because if you go back, it affects the camera. You can see something move towards this sign, like a shadow sort of.
Yeah.
And it affected the camera and knocked the sign around. That's what kind of made me think, maybe this isn't staged. But yet she's still filming. Look at that. She's got to get in closer. Jeez. You know, in a lot of ways, technology is a big bane to society. You know, it's that's funny that she runs off in a different direction. You know, it's like, but that being said, that goes back to the whole concept of she literally all she did was walk over by where that little I'm assuming they look like sheets, bed sheets or something like that in a package, fell off the shelf and tried to help and put it back up. And then boom, she's possessed. So these things are out there everywhere. They know no race boundary, no whatever. We already talked about pigs. So who knows what else they, that they're okay with.
Anything that's a body that can operate there, like I said, even clones, they just need a body.
Yep. There's let's see, where is it here? Oh, this is the video clip of some of these next video clips I took from Trey Smith's video, Demons and Angels and Demons, something like that.
Okay.
If you go to God in a Nutshell website, Trey Smith has some awesome videos, and there's video footage that you will never see anywhere else ever. So get a shout out to him. He does some incredible stuff. So Trey, I'm sorry if you don't want me clipping your stuff, but I'm going to show some clips.
He's on YouTube, right?
When you don't.
Yeah, he is on YouTube. He has a big channel. He's got like 500,000 followers or something like that.
Okay.
Now listen closely to what, like in these video clips, it's more about what they're saying than what you're seeing.
When you don't see them.
Oops.
Right. What was interesting is that there was a huge satanic ritual that was performed on the very spot where Area 51 happened by this Jack Parsons. Yeah. And in which they had this magical ceremony called Babylon Working, and it was designed by Aleister Crowley, who was a Satanist who called himself the B666. Yes. And the purpose of this series of magical ceremonies, which was performed on the spot of Area 51, where it's now located, was to unseal an interdimensional gateway, they said. And so this, they hoped, would allow other entities known as the, quote, old ones access to our space-time continuum. And this witness said that he saw Jack Parsons rip a hole in space-time there, and he said that something evil flew in.
Something evil flew in. Mr. Parsons was a bad dude. I've did a little bit of research on him, and he was not only did he do this satanic stuff, but he was a rocket scientist. He invented a lot of propulsion systems and stuff like that. I mean, this guy was a very smart individual, but coincidentally, a lot of stuff happened in that Area 51 area. Where is it here? I've got another one that involves Area 51. And here, I might as well just show this one because this is a popular one.
And he says our master was misunderstood.
Calma aí, maluco. Porra, vai chocar o bicho, cara. Aí, não falei que ele ia falar, ó.
So, and it goes back to that concept that, some people think the Greys are extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings. Interdimensional is probably a better description, I think, instead of extraterrestrial. And again, always they seem to be associated with demons. And I don't know if people remember the movie They Live. If you haven't seen it, it's got Roddy Piper. I think it was from the late 80s, early 90s, whatever it was. And the premise of the movie, actually it applies to both what we're talking about right now and our current society. The concept was that there was these aliens on Earth that looked like humans, but Roddy Piper's character, I don't remember how he got these glasses, but these glasses, once he put them on, allowed him to see the world for what it was. So these aliens, and like if you look at the books and stuff in the background, they're all subliminal stuff. Stay asleep, watch TV, do not question authority, So like this is kind of like before
Wow.
its time, like this is they used the mainstream media to enslave humanity. That's
Right.
basically the concept of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, kind of tying in with demons. And if you look at this square here, all the signs: obey, conform, buy, watch TV, stay asleep. Where have we heard that before? Conform, consume. This is your God.
Mm.
So I thought that was pretty appropriate. This is just a bigger or a better image of all the stuff that we're kind of going through right now. Do not question authority.
Mm-hmm.
Honor apathy. Reward indifference. So these aren't old concepts of the stuff that we're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got this segment. We'll talk about that they brought a bunch of scientists together, and a lot of these guys, when they first came together, they were wholly on board that ETs exist. All these encounters, all these incidents with these beings were all extraterrestrial, and then their tune changed.
Of what's been going on indicates that it was more than I was prepared to admit in the beginning.
Both of these respected researchers came to the conclusion that they're not intergalactic. For lots of physics, there are a lot of physics rebuttals to that conjecture. They both argued that these things are demonic.
There you go. Right from scientist's mouth.
You're right.
And here's one of a woman who called into a show. This was like in '88. Hold on a sec here. Bob Larson's pretty famous. I think a lot of people know who Bob Larson is. There's a radio show in 1988. It was an unknown caller. This just listening to it kind of creeped me out a little bit.
I pray that her mind will be opened. We bind all the powers of darkness. Don't you worry. Who are you? Who are you? The keeper? Rebecca? Rebecca, keeper, get out of the way. I command you to stay out of the way. Rebecca?
Yes.
Say, I, Rebecca.
I, Rebecca.
Want love. Stay out of the way, keeper. Stay out of the way. I want out.
I want out.
Say, I put my trust.
I put my trust.
In God.
In God.
In God. Stay out of the way, keeper.
God.
That was just creepy because you heard her voice change when she started to say God. It kind of dropped like it was physically hurting her.
Well, they can manipulate, voice and all those things, especially when you become possessed, and like Natalie said, your body, they'll have you crawling and being like animals and all kinds of other things. Yeah,
it's amazing what they can physically do to your body, and I think it's because they have such control of your mind, and people don't realize how powerful your mind is. We're so led to believe that it's not, but these demons know how powerful your mind is, and just the ability to physically alter somebody just by mentally changing their body. I mean, just believing that they can change their body into whatever they want it to become, and they seemingly do these inhuman things, and including levitating and that kind of stuff. We all saw the little girl with her head spinning around shooting pea soup out of her mouth.
Said pea soup.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Gosh, I'm losing my mind. I can't think of the movie now. Anybody? What was the name of that movie again? Exorcist. There you go. Thank you. This one, oops, talks about him walking among us.
And all of it is alive.
But, rather than sort of nuts and bolts spacecraft landing, as I said, on the White House lawn, the idea was that people, literally within the Defense Department, were sort of consulting ancient texts and books on demons.
Sorry, people.
A different one.
didn't share the screen there.
Oh yeah.
My bad.
Sort of nuts and bolts spacecraft landing, as we said, on the White House lawn. The idea was that people, literally within the Defense Department, were sort of consulting ancient texts and books on demonology and using archaic rites and rituals to quite literally summon up these entities that, you know, the UFO research community calls the Greys. You know, they weren't trying to contact them by radio or whatever, you know, radio waves or anything like that. It was.
I think it's important that what he's describing is what we're trying to get across, that these people have known for a long time that these are demons and not extraterrestrials. Just the idea that they have to summon the Greys and not try to contact them through like ordinary means, like a radio telecommunication or, you know, that kind of stuff. And they're using ancient rites, modern scientists using ancient rites to do this.
Literally, you know, invoking and using ancient rites and rituals.
Using Enochian rituals. Sir John Dee conjured up demons or angels, okay, with his black magic. The beings that he conjured up, there were pictures drawn of them, and they look identical to what we call gray aliens.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call Greys. We didn't call them Greys in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the Greys. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets, that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are.
So that begs the question, and that brings up a good point. In addition to summoning, if a lot of these entities are humanoid looking or, you know, bipedal, that would kind of lend to the idea that they exist here on our planet or in our space, you know, or they come from a dimension or somewhere outside of our perception, but still in this space, you know, still in this realm or whatever you want to call it, as opposed to originating somewhere out in the cosmos, you know. So they're here. They're like, they've always been here.
Right. Yep. I believe so, you know, and some people will say that, you know, they've even inhabited the moon. You know, a lot of people call the Greys, you know, coming from the bad Greys coming from the moon, because I hear there's like good Greys as well, you know, within I guess our galaxy or whatever. But you know, with demons they manipulate, so of course they use, you know, different types of bodies and things like that. So,
yep. What was I gonna? There's another clip here. Well, first of all, I don't know if people remember the movie, the sort of recent movie, The Conjuring. It was based on a true story about a couple that dedicated their lives to investigating these kind of demonic possessions and that kind of stuff. Well, this is like an old video clip of them interviewing somebody. I don't know exactly who this person is, but I just found what he said kind of interesting and disturbing at the same time.
We worship spirits. We worship Lucifer and all his angels. They're just as beautiful as they did before they were cast out of heaven. He says there was a misunderstanding in the whole thing. He said among the inhabitants of the galaxies. And he says our master was misunderstood.
He said there was a misunderstanding in the anointing in the heavens, that they worship Satan and his angels, and that they were just as beautiful. And I just found that kind
of. The Bible does say that he comes as an angel of light. So everything that looks good doesn't mean it's right. There's a difference between what is right and what is good, and that's why Jesus said to seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference between God's righteousness and others' righteousness, and what is good. Because everything that's good doesn't mean it's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then this same gentleman from a couple clips ago brings up a very good point.
Okay.
Who are these interdimensional count?
Well, first of all, that's Trey Smith, by the way, for those of you who don't know.
Oh, okay. That's him. Okay.
That's this was his first video like 20 years ago or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
Probers.
They appear to have the ability to materialize and dematerialize without a trace.
I knew that was Chuck Missler.
One of the great mysteries of the UFOs isn't seeing them, is trying to figure out where are they when you don't see them.
I think that's the better question. Where are they when you don't see them? Where are they hanging out? Do they have their own special club? They got to hang out somewhere in a volcano somewhere? Are they in another dimension? Or, I think that's a good question.
Well, see, the thing about the thing I've learned, I think, about demons is they can't leave. Well, unless they're kicked out, of course.
Yeah, right.
They roam around the earth, and we see an example of that when we were talking about the pigs earlier. How Jesus sent the legion into the swine, the pigs. Before that happened, the demons cried out and said, do not send us to the abyss. Most people say when he's talking about the abyss, he's probably talking about a certain dimensional place that demons hate, and so, Jesus sent them into the swine, but the swine jumped off the cliff and the demons got kicked out of the swine anyway, So I hear that, demons can't necessarily leave the earth unless they're, of course, kicked out of the earth and all that. And I believe that's part of the operation of the white hats, what they're doing within this war. And as children of God, we have authority and power to do as well, as God leads us, because greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. So when we believe and we have that relationship with God and we trust in God, then He will empower us and give us authority to cast out demons.
Absolutely. And we've been saying it this whole video, but that's a point that should be remembered. You're in total control. I mean, you're in the driver's seat at all times unless you don't want to be.
Right.
And I would assume to be in the driver's seat. So
that's what I always say. The greatest weapon the enemy uses is ignorance.
Yes.
Because he doesn't want you to know. He wants to keep you in the unknown. First of all, he doesn't want you to know who you are in Christ, and he doesn't want you to know who you can be. Because that's the first thing he did with Jesus when Jesus was being tempted in the wilderness was he attacked his identity. So that's an example of how the enemy comes at us. First thing he wants to do is attack our identity. He doesn't want you to know who you really are. And so, like you said earlier, it's like, look, we got to understand our mind is very powerful, and most people don't know how powerful our mind is, but a lot of these demons know.
Yeah. And that's, again, not knowing, trying to remove individual identities. Look at all the masks and everything that's going on right now with this whole, this whole pandemic. With a mask on, you're not an individual anymore. You're part of a mass. You know, you don't see somebody smile. You don't see their expressions. You don't, you know, so that's dehumanizing. And
Yeah, you become a person.
yes,
You know, look at the meaning of the word person.
Yeah, you're not a man or a woman anymore. You're a person.
Yeah, a person is a masked person, a masked individual, or you know, someone who wears a mask. If you look up that meaning, you'll see that that's part of that meaning. A lot of people don't know that, you know.
Good
so
question,
we have to be
Rube.
individuals. Are some principalities tied to certain regions and land? Also, isn't there generational curse attachments, say from Masons, etc.? Yeah, that is true. They're territorial. See, these evil spirits are territorial. The reason why they're territorial because they've been here for so long.
Right, they've already divided up the earth.
They were here before man was even created. All right. And I talked about this, I believe, in our first show, how, you know, I talked about the gap theory, how it talks about in the beginning God created and the heavens and the earth. And then after that, it talks about and the earth was void. There was a gap between there. See, that's probably a part of what was taken out of the Bible is between those two scriptures. There was a gap because the Bible talks about in the Psalms how God never created earth to be void. So, which means something happened after creation, you know, in the midst of that time up until the time that earth was void. All right. And there's a reason why the Bible talks about how the earth was covered in water.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, but these beings, these demons, they were kicked out of heaven. These fallen angels, Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, and they came here to earth. They came down to earth. So all this chaos and stuff happened, and of course, you can read more about that. A lot of that in the book of Enoch and the other different books that are missing from the Bible. But like I said, when the floods came, the first flood, because obviously there was a judgment that took place, because that's one of the reasons why the earth was filled with water. The Bible talks about in the beginning. There was a judgment that took place based on, you know, these demons, these evil spirits that were here before mankind. So this is one of the reasons why God had created his children. All right. God manifested his children here on this earth to dominate. The Bible also talks about to subdue, which means to guard. So why God created man to guard the garden, not only the garden, but all of earth. So what did he create? To guard the earth from what?
Right.
You see what I mean? So, you know, these demons been here for a long time. So they don't like mankind because we are the image of God. Yep. First and foremost, we're the image of God. And, you know, Satan hates God based on what happened, him being kicked out and all those things. And then then these spirits and Satan hates us because he knows that God has given us dominion. The problem is most people don't know that they have dominion over these demons and these spirits. So that's why I say the enemy attacks your identity, because he doesn't want you to know. He wants to keep you ignorant of the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Margot, I do have a copy of the Book of Enoch sitting on my living room table upstairs. I'm always reading from it. I don't know why. I just find it interesting.
Yes. I have it on my phone. They have an app of the Book of Enoch on it. Yeah. So I always reference it with the regular Bible. You know, I began to start referencing some of these books that were taken out with the regular Bible to kind of help people, you know, kind of put two and two together, you know.
You'll have to email that to me.
Yeah, I'll send that to you once we get off.
Let's see, I've got another video here.
Perhaps even more disturbing tonight, a report out of Indiana. You may have seen this on A Factor. Wait until you hear where we're taking the story. The report suggests that demons took over a family in their home.
This was some shattered paradigm.
And Megan, the comparisons to the Amityville are notable because it was just days after the Ammon family moved into their house. They say the horror began, the black flies swarming, children being levitated, shadowy figures pacing the house. Here's the mother, listen.
And I saw one like coming into full image. was coming out of my closet. I've never seen it like that before. I would see the shadows, you know, but I've never seen it like how I'm looking at you and you're looking at me.
The family sought help, but between the horror stories, the kids missing school, and being injured, the family doctor and child services got involved, with child services pointing the finger at mom, writing, quote, they believe the mother may have mental health concerns. They believe the children are performing for the mother and that she's encouraging the behavior. Then child services witnessed something that changed their view. The 9-year-old boy thrown against the wall with no one touching him. Then they write, quote, he had a weird grin on his face and began to walk backwards while the grandmother was holding his hand. He walked up the wall backwards. He flipped over and landed on his feet in front of the grandmother and sat down in the chair. Police also thought the story was a hoax until they went to the house and saw blinds dripping with oil and water where there was no source, and a mysterious figure in a window when no one was home. 37-year police veteran Captain Charles Austin saying, quote, every one of us who was there that day in the basement and who saw what we saw, we all think the same. We call it the same. That bit of dirt is a portal to hell. The family called a local priest, Father Michael Maginot, who was convinced demons had possessed the mother. He tried to contact the demons through 3 exorcisms. Here's the priest.
It was pretty much without incident until we get to the part of your name, and you ask for its name. Now, so far, she's always been silent. So then I says, is your name whatever? And then all of a sudden she started convulsing and such. So now once you have a name, you kind of attack it.
And after she convulsed, he believes the exorcism in the end was successful.
Yeah, the only reason I showed that is because it was in the mainstream. Yeah, like police admitted to it, the child services admitted to it, you know, and that's a real possibility when people are fighting these things, go in public and trying to get help. People interpret it different. You know, they think you're crazy or you're hurting your kids or something like that, and you're just making up an excuse or something to so, you know, is what it is. But it all goes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you know, and that's why at certain locations, you know, there's things that you really should do to keep your house, your land, and your family covered and cleared of, you know, these type of demons and evil spirits and things like that. You know, of course, you know, prayer is always, you know, the best thing. And when I talk about prayer, I'm not talking about religious prayer. I'm talking about, you know, having that relationship with the Lord where you can talk to the Lord, you know, and know the scriptures, knowing the scriptures, because knowing the scriptures lets you know who you are in Christ. And see, that's the root of all of this, is you knowing who you are. When these demons know that you don't know who you are, then it's easy for them to, you know, manipulate, get you, possess you, whatever, you know. And so we have to be able to grow in relationship with God. And so, because, you know, only God can really show us who we are. And he's the only one that can really help us to overcome these entities, you know. So yeah, we have to know who we are.
And it's important, especially right now with everything that's going on, to at least open your mind to the possibility that some of these people in power around the world are demonic in some way, you know, or they're being controlled or whatever, because that much evil can't just exist unless people have allowed it in over time and invited it in and nurtured it and grown it.
Yep.
So,
right. A demon can't possess a body unless you allow it to come in.
Right.
You know, a demon will not just come and overtake your body. You would have to allow it to come in, and a lot of times it's mental. You know, the way you allow these demons to come in. You know, it's all about what's in your mind. You know, your thoughts. You know, because people don't understand, your thoughts are a lot more heavier than or is at the same time at the same weight of you know, as you saying something, speaking something out of your mouth. So your thoughts kind of carry that same weight, I remember one time, and I was praying for somebody. I was praying healing for somebody, and the Lord just told me not to even say anything, just to, think in your imagination, seeing the healing happen. And it was somebody I was praying for because they had problems with their lower back. And usually, most of the time, when you have problems with your lower back, is because one leg is shorter than the other. And so I was praying for this person, and I just, in my mind, I commanded the leg to grow out and line up. And so as I did that, the leg grew out and lined up with the other leg, and you could see the look on the person's face, and they were like, their back was relieved, like, wow, my back pain is gone. And they didn't know what I was saying or what I was praying. They just, like, okay, he told me to put my feet up and told me one leg was shorter than the other. But this is the power of the mind, that we have to be able to command things to happen,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's relating to what you're saying, but not to this video. I saw something the other day that I've seen before. It was a doctor, I think in India. It's a woman who just performs these unbelievable healing acts, basically with her mind, and and getting everybody in the room in the same kind of higher vibration. Like, so everybody that's around the patient or around this person is everybody's kind of all in tune with each other. And she had, I think it was some kind of a tumor, and somebody was holding like the ultrasound thing over the belly where the tumor was, and you could clearly see the tumor in the ultrasound.
Yeah, I saw that video.
And as this was kept going on, like, it just kept disappearing, like it slowly just kept disappearing. And it's like, tell me the power of the human mind is not powerful, and belief,
belief. That faith. That's where your belief is in it's from your mind, what you think, that's a part of your belief.
It goes back to I don't know the exact phrasing, but the whole greater works thing.
Jesus, to them that believe in Jesus, you shall do the same works.
Yes,
but also
and even greater.
But also greater works shall you do, because he said, I go to be with the Father. So it's like Jesus, like, look, I'm leaving, but you guys got to carry this on so you can do the greater work.
Right, and I think hopefully we're coming back to that. With this great big gathering / shaking of the church / harvest.
Yes,
I think people are seeing the power not only of faith, but the power of knowing that with your personal relationship with God, that all things are possible.
Yes,
and believing it. I mean, really believing it, not just hearing it and saying, "Oh, yeah, I've heard it my whole life," whatever. But believing it, truly believing it.
Yes. Yep. You have to believe. That's the power that we have. Listen. When you believe, oh my gosh, it's so many examples of that in the Bible. I mean, look at Peter walking on the water. Like, Peter is like, it's this big storm and they're on a boat, and Jesus comes, from the shore walking on the water, and they're scared. They're thinking he's a ghost, but Jesus like, look, fear not, and so Peter is like, look, if it is you, tell me to come to the water, and I'll come on the water, I'll come to you. And so Jesus said, come, and so Peter stepped out because he believed, what Jesus said. You know what I mean? It's like he's walking on water based on what Jesus said, and what the problem was that he began to look at what was going on around him. So he began to see the storm and the big waves, and that just kind of took his focus off mentally of what, made him forget about what Jesus said and all those things, so he began to sink. And so Jesus had to pull him up, but it was because of his faith in what God and what Jesus said. Jesus told him to come out, so he's like, all right, I'll come.
Hello, Sheila, by the way.
Sheila, how are you?
and again, kind of a little bit tying into what you're saying, just from the little bit that I know, that a lot of the apostles weren't all exactly good guys before, they kind of started doing the things that they did, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like God picked them and showed them. And, you know, I don't know the story of all of them, but it seemed like some of them, like Peter, like some of these people were not really good people to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
they
yeah.
saw the power of, you know, God, and it could change the hardest hearted person into a believer. And I think Dolores said this one time, she might have said it on my show. I can't remember when she said it, but she was talking about her relationship with Dennis, her husband. And in the beginning or early on, she basically implied that he was hard to be around. She wanted to get a divorce, you know, because he was always talking about God, and she was still an atheist at the time. And in her words, she said that, I believe, sorry, Dolores, if I'm saying this wrong, that he loved God into me. Like he loved God so much, he loved God into her. And I just thought that was a very profound phrase, or a profound way to put it. And so I guess the bottom line, people, everybody that's watching, demons or not, you're always in control of your own life. You know, demons will never, ever, ever have control of you or anybody in your family if you don't want them to. And you don't ever have to experience any kind of demonic rigmarole if you don't want it to be there. If you have friends that are having a hard time and that are living in fear, you know, pray with them. Bring some light into their life. Show them how life can be. And the bottom line is, don't live in fear. Try not to live in fear. That's the biggest, you know.
Yeah, when you get in fear, you vibrate on their level. And so when you vibrate on their level, it's easy for them to come in. That's the open door, when you vibrate on their level.
But this has been an awesome show, my friend.
Yes, it's very powerful.
As usual, it's been a good show. I have to say that I appreciate Joe being on here with me and doing the show together, and all of you folks coming on and joining us live, and everybody that will be watching us at some point down the road. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support. We're gonna, post all the stuff in the comments as far as how you can reach both of us and how you can get a hold of the show. And we want people to interact. We want people to get involved. You know, if you have ideas for shows, or if you have whatever experiences you want to share, by all means, drop a line, jump in the Telegram channel, whatever. And we want to hear from you. So any last parting thoughts, Mr. Dingle?
Listen, the only power that the enemy has over you is what you allow. You know, continue to seek God, grow in relationship with him, you know, and seek his kingdom, his culture, and live in that, you know. And when you focus on that, then, you know, you'll realize and you'll grow into realizing who you are, as who God has created you to be. And therefore, when you know who you are, you'll understand how weak and lowly these demons are, these evil beings are. Satan is, you know, he's already been defeated. So, you know, why you don't allow somebody that's defeated already to defeat you. You know, Jesus said, look, I've already overcome the world so that you can overcome the world. And so he's already paved the way, you know, so we don't have to live in fear. We don't have to live in bondage. You know, we just have to focus and enjoy our relationship with God, and just continue to grow in knowledge of him, and you know, about who he is and who he is in you. All right.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Again, thank you folks for joining. This has been a great session as usual. Great episode. Don't be afraid again to throw your suggestions at us. Not sure what the subject will be next week, but maybe you could be the decider of that. Who knows? So
yeah, maybe we can talk about angels. How about that?
That's
we talk
right.
about demons. Maybe we can talk about angels. I have a couple encounters I can talk about that I've had with angels and seeing angels. And
well, there you go.
Yeah,
Well,
let's
then
talk about
that's
angels.
what we'll do. We'll do next week will be angels. We'll do angels.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, God bless all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, I've been John. He's been Joe. And we love you guys and talk to you soon.
All right.